Hey guys, welcome to the TechRally channel where we talk about coding, life as a software engineer, and tips and tricks for you to become a better software developer or land that first job. If you find content like that interesting, I highly recommend you to hit that like and subscribe so you can stay up to date whenever I post. Now you may be wondering, there may be a little bit of a different video quality with this one, and it just so happens that the one that I usually use, I did not bring my battery with me, so I'm using my iPhone, and luckily I got the new iPhone 12, so hopefully the video quality is a little bit better and maybe I can EQ the sound better. And if you're double wondering where I am, that I can't even get my battery, it's because I'm actually in the Harvard Business School campus and I'm wearing a Harvard hat as well. And no, I don't go to Harvard. I'm still working full-time as a software engineer. It's just that my partner goes to HBS, and one of the benefits of being a remote developer is that you can kind of work wherever you feel like. So one of the perks of being a software engineer where I can still create content, do my job, and still give you guys information that you guys want to know. It's really cool, and I really want to show you guys the Harvard campus, so stay tuned for that B-roll before I get to the subject. I'll give you a little timestamp if you just want to hear me talk about failures as a senior software engineer. Stay tuned. So today's topic is going to be talking about failures as a senior software developer. Generally, a lot of my topics have been revolved around talking about failure from the perspective of an aspiring developer or a junior developer, but I haven't really talked about failures as a senior software developer. And the reason why I don't do that is because it would have to be experiences from my own personal failures, and that's kind of hard to talk about in the open. I am not a perfect software engineer, far from it. If anything, what's gotten me to become a decent software engineer in this space is making a lot of mistakes, learning from it, and becoming a little bit better incremental version of myself by iterating and adapting to the mistakes that I made. I know a lot of self-taught developers out there trying to land that first job. When you go through that first interview process and get rejected, you might start feeling like a failure. But trust me when I say this, as someone that's been in the industry for 5 years plus, I still feel like a failure all the time because I make a lot of mistakes. As a senior developer, I've had plenty of interviews, plenty of failed interviews, just to be clear. And just because you're experienced doesn't mean you're gonna get that job or you're bulletproof. Yes, I probably get more messages on LinkedIn, probably get more messages from recruiters, giving me more opportunities to talk to companies. But at the end of the day, I'm still doing the coding challenges, I'm still doing the interviews, I'm still doing the technical challenges, and there's no magic bullet that will give me the secret access to all of the answers to the solutions. If anything, I'm in the same position as you, maybe even harder as a senior developer, because as senior developers, we make more money, they expect more from you, and they want you to be able to make a significant impact when you join a company. The reality is I failed so many interviews, and it's definitely a tough pill to swallow, and it hurts my pride, especially as someone that is experienced. But if I learned anything from being a junior developer to my current role, is that nothing really changes when you get a job and from the perspective of hiring. Regardless of what your level is like as a developer, failing, and specifically failing in coding interviews really sucks. The only difference between myself when I started and now is that I just move on quicker from my failures. I definitely take the time to talk to the recruiters and try to understand what mistakes have I made. Is there any kind of feedback that you can give me so that next time I can be a better candidate for this? If a company didn't hire you, take it as a learning opportunity of what you could have done better for the next time you go into that job interview process. You don't want to keep doing all these job interviews and expect the same result if you're not making any adaptations to it. As a senior developer, what I've learned is that I'm not a perfect developer, and to be able to get that next job or to be able to ace those job interviews, you have to learn how to adapt and adapt quickly. I think too often junior developers expect a job to be handed to you, and next thing you know, you'll get trained and you'll become a software engineer. But the reality is that a lot of these companies are looking for people that know how to code and know how to code now. No one's going to be perfect in an interview. Your mind's going to be racing. You're going to be thinking about all those algo problems that you should solve for. But just take that valuable feedback if you didn't get the job to sharpen your skills. I can guarantee it. Personally, for me, I have an email folder of all my rejections from my companies I interviewed at. And it's not that I'm bitter or I hate these companies that I have this list of them. It's just more of a reminder to myself of how much I've grown since being passed by these companies. I don't like tooting my own horn, but I've grown so much as a software engineer since I first started graduating from a coding bootcamp. I pushed myself to start a YouTube channel to help other aspiring developers, and I even do one-on-one with people outside of my work environment to help them become software engineers. So in a way, some of these failures have taught me so many different things about what employers are looking at, what it means to be a senior software engineer, what it means to actually mentor developers to make sure that they're put in a path that they could actually succeed. Crazy as it sounds, you need to be proud of your failures. If you got everything on your first run, then life would be just way too easy. A lot of new developers do get discouraged about not getting that first job from their first interview process, but the amount of work and effort that you actually put into these interviews, and eventually once that one company does hire you, it's gonna feel so much more sweeter because you're finally given that opportunity to prove yourself. But if you were just able to get that job right away, you wouldn't know actually how hard some of these interview processes are. So yeah, even senior developers fail. I fail so much throughout my life. In this video, I talk about failures in the scope of coding interviews, but even at work, I've had so many different types of failures, whether it's a coding problem I can't solve or having disagreements with coworkers of what solution is better than the other. Either way, what's the beauty of once you do land that job is that you can actually work with other people and solve a problem. I hope that this was helpful for you and encouraging for aspiring developers to know that you are not alone. If you want to share your failures, please leave them in the comments below. I would like to know what you guys have gone through as software engineers in your experience as well. I'll see you later. TechRally out.